Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. I don't know how you could tell, but I am back after a week of vacation, and it's always tough for me. It's always tough for me to be away because I'm always on the computer, always on the BlackBerry, always looking to see what I'm missing, always trying to talk to somebody about what's going on. And now you're back. I have this little trusty microphone, and you are here for me to spew to. And at the very beginning here, I want to welcome everyone listening on our new radio home, 850 WFTL in South Florida. And I am in for Mr. Barsky, who we wish him all the best during his medical leave. And I'll be with you each weekday from 3 to 5 Eastern Time while Barsky is out. So I hope you'll join me and be as loyal to me as you have been to him right through. So we're very excited to be on. Once again, for those of you listening on WFTL, you know that my old show that I used to do in a different incarnation, I guess, a couple of years back ended on WFTL. But now we're back, and we're an afternoon drive, and we're going to shake things up and make it just as exciting as it's been while you listen to Barsky. So I hope you'll be a frequent listener and caller. We have a toll-free number. You're all welcome to call, whether you're listening on WFTL or our great affiliate, News Talk 1160 in Atlanta, WCFO, or at Newsmax.com or on XM 244, wherever you're listening to the Steve Malzberg Show. It's 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. We have breaking news as we start. Alex Rodriguez of the New York Yankees has been suspended by Major League Baseball for 211 games, and I'm assuming, without doing the math in my head, that is the remainder of this season, and all of the 2014 season is 162 games, 72, 82, 92, 02, 12. So it's, it figures out to the games left this season for the Yankees and next season. Now, interestingly enough, Alex Rodriguez turns out to be probably the first player, certainly of any significance, ever to be suspended from baseball on the same day that he returns to play his first game of the year at the beginning of August after coming off from injury. So he's back tonight for the Yankees in the lineup as the Yankees travel to Chicago to play the White Sox. He gets to play because he's appealing his suspension. Now, 12 other players today have been suspended for the duration, actually for 50 games. 50 games. They have accepted their suspension. They will not appeal, and they will not play, and we'll give you those names a little bit later on. But Alex Rodriguez has decided to appeal or he can appeal, let's put it that way. The suspension starts Thursday, from what I'm now finding out. Why that, I don't know. The suspension starts Thursday, but he could appeal, and he could play while he appeals. Now, why could he play while he appeals? Because it's a suspension of violating the player agreement, the basic player management agreement for use of performance-enhancing drugs. It's not the commissioner, Bud Selig, saying, hey, I'm suspending Alex Rodriguez under the best interests of baseball clause, which is something he could have done. Had he suspended A-Rod under the best interests of baseball clause, A-Rod could not have appealed his suspension, or could not have played while he appealed the suspension. I don't even know if he could have appealed the suspension, not through the usual channels. He would have had to go to the courts. Now he could appeal through the arbitration procedure that the union has with the owners. So that's where we are. I didn't intend to start with that, but that's breaking as we talk. A-Rod out through the 2014 season. He'll return, if the suspension holds, when he's 40 in the year 2015 for that season. a mess, and the mess will continue. But I want to get to some other issues here while I was out, while I was away. Let me play you something that should concern us all. And why don't we start with number 22? I don't think I mentioned 22. I want you to hear 22. You recall this? You recall this in the run-up to the campaign of 2012, the presidential election? You recall stop after stop after stop after stop, one Barack Obama uttering the following over and over again. Here's cut number 22.
I said we'd refocus on the people who actually attacked us on 9/11. And today, Al-Qaeda's on the run and Osama bin Laden is dead. The day after 9/11, we were reminded that a new tower rises above the New York skyline. But Al-Qaeda's on the path to defeat and bin Laden is dead. We have gone after Al-Qaeda, decimated their leadership ranks, taken out Osama bin Laden. We've been able to decimate Al-Qaeda and take out bin Laden.
All right. Well, you haven't been able to decimate Al-Qaeda, have you, Mr. President? Because we have closed 21 embassies around the world. 19 of those are going to stay closed for the foreseeable future. Why? Because we're afraid of an Al-Qaeda attack. That's right, an Al-Qaeda attack. Well, how could that be? The president has told us that we decimated Al-Qaeda. They're on the run, baby. No, unfortunately, I'm sorry and ashamed and disheartened to say, we are on the run. We are on the run, not Al-Qaeda, Mr. President. Or unless that's just another phony scandal or a phony statement I'm making up, along with Benghazi and the IRS and the war on journalists. You know, it's all phony. Just listen to the president tell you so. Now, there was a report on CBS News this morning which talked about U.S. officials dealing with the most credible terrorist threat in years. And I want you to listen. Here's cut 24.
What's interesting is that they say that the operatives are already dispatched.
Well, I think that's right. And this is reminiscent, actually, of the plot in 2010. You recall there was a plot to attack European sites. People were worried about Mumbai-style attacks coming from the al-Qaeda core. It never materialized, but officials were worried that they actually had operatives in place. And that's a great concern here.
Okay, that's CBS News security analyst Juan Zarat. So that's the threat here. That's what they're worried about here, that these people are already in place to kill, to blow up, to do the destruction that they're going to do. Here's more, cut 25.
How concerned are they now about surgically implanted bombs being used?
Well, they're worried about all sorts of innovations coming from al-Asiri. He's not only a master bomb maker, but he's innovative. And you've seen in the last two plots that have come from al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula that have targeted the United States, the best innovation we've seen in terms of bomb making yet. And so a concern is that not only do you have that innovation, but you have techniques perhaps like surgically inserted bombs at play in this plot.
So they're worried about this bomb maker in Yemen being able to sew bombs into people, into suicide bombers, homicide bombers, as we should more appropriately call them, sewing the bombs inside of a human being to bypass security and detection and you name it. But don't worry, Al-Qaeda's on the run. We've decimated their leadership. More. And Norah O'Donnell on CBS actually asks a good question. I was amazed. Here it is, cut 26.
The Obama administration has told us repeatedly that they have decapitated the head of the snake of al-Qaeda. And now we have the most significant threat perhaps since 9/11. What happened?
Well, the problem, Nora, is the Obama administration has largely talked about that decimation of al-Qaeda in terms of the core, the group in Pakistan and Afghanistan, led by bin Laden and Zawahiri. The problem is you've had the rise of the al-Qaeda affiliates, groups in Yemen, North Africa, East Africa. Those groups have taken up the strategic and operational mantle for al-Qaeda, and the group in Yemen has been the most dangerous.
All right, so there you go. So I guess Al-Qaeda, or should I say Obama, you know, when he said, remember his victory tour after we got bin Laden? After he got bin Laden, he put on the uniform, he went in there and he shot bin Laden, don't you know? After our troops, our brave men and women got bin Laden, he went on his victory tour. I got bin Laden. We got bin Laden. Al Qaeda's dead. Al Qaeda's running. They're on the run. They're decimated. Their leadership's gone. And now look at it. And I got another question. I don't know that I asked a question previously, so I have a question. Yeah, I do have a question. It is another question because I did ask, how could that be? When I said Al Qaeda's ready to attack us, we closed 19 embassies when we were told they're done, they're over. Why are we letting the world know that we know all this? Why are we telling every single detail? We know that they're out there. We're afraid of bombs and being sewn into people. We're closing 21 embassies. We're extending a closure for 19 of them. We think this is going to happen. This is the most chatter. We know it's the most chatter because of this, and this is specific. Why are we telling everybody, the bad guys, what we know? What is the purpose of that? Aren't we telling too much? Didn't Joe Biden open his big mouth and tell the world that SEAL Team 6 had killed bin Laden? And didn't SEAL Team 6, a couple of months later, suffer an unspeakable, horrific tragedy with their plane going down? As we've talked about, the book Betrayal with Paul Vallely and the parents of one of the dead SEALs. Why does this administration feel the need to tell the world every little detail about everything? That's what I'd like to know. All right, I don't know. The one thing left off this, are you screening that phone call? Is that how it works? We got a whole new system here, folks. It's being screened. Okay, we'll come back. We got at least one caller from our brand new affiliate, WFTL, Big Talk 850. The number, 855-777-9660. We're coming right back. Let's not forget Benghazi, because that is getting deeper and deeper. And I'm telling you, if what's been told to me and to us over the past week is true, this president needs to be called to testify before Congress and face possible impeachment. On the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If your prostate is giving you problems and your doc says it's just part of getting older, be wary. Renowned physician and author Dr. David Brownstein thinks this is baloney. He's discovered a link between aging and prostate health and believes prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. That's why he created Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Brownstein. I personally formulated Prostate Revive to include the most essential natural ingredients available to help promote a healthy prostate gland and optimal urinary function.
The producers of Dr. Brownstein's Prostate Revive are so thrilled with the positive feedback from satisfied customers that for a limited time, they are willing to send you your first month's supply free. Plus, call now and you'll also receive Dr. Brownstein's special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. For details on getting your free bottle, call 1-800-596-REVIVE. That's 1-800-596-REVIVE. Take control with Prostate Revive. Call now while supplies last to claim your risk-free bottle at 1-800-596-REVIVE.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com.
Obamacare. More than $1 trillion in new costs. Hidden taxes, fees, big Medicare cuts, doctor shortages. How can we survive?
To know Obamacare is to survive Obamacare. The Obamacare Survival Guide tells you everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
We're in the midst of an obesity epidemic, and I'm not surprised. The statistics on obesity mirror an increasing trend of eating out or ordering in. In fact, some people dine out every night, but eating in restaurants is one of the biggest enemies of your heart. When you're in a restaurant, you don't really know what you're getting, and the calorie counts of many restaurant dishes are astronomical. In fact, some single dishes contain more calories than we should eat in an entire day. Eating in fast food restaurants is even worse. A diet of hamburgers, French fries, and shakes constitutes a fast lane to the emergency room. If you really want to help your heart, get in the habit of cooking simple meals at home. Here are 3 easy tips that will make your food taste better than even the best restaurant. Choose the best fruit in season. Your local farmer's market is a great place to start. It will probably still cost less than that pie you were thinking of buying. Get in the habit of using fresh herbs. You can use them in egg white omelets or dust them on the fish you grill or bake. And for a light dessert, choose a square or 2 of dark chocolate that you and your spouse can enjoy. There are lots of ways to make your heart healthy, but there are also lots of ways to damage it. That's why I wrote Fix It, Dr. Crandall's 90-day program. In it, I'll tell you how to kickstart your metabolism every day, how to pick the best diet for you, how to stop hunger from sabotaging your diet, the 7 superfoods for your heart. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I do want to get to Benghazi, but let's get to our first caller, Nathan from Boca Raton, undoubtedly listening at 850 WFTL. Hello, Nathan. How are you, sir? You're on the Steve Malzberg Show. Thanks.
No, we're thanking you. I'm calling to be the first caller to welcome you back to South Florida.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
We appreciate you. I just found out you are live. I was testing that I had the right number. And you follow, of course, Joyce Kaufman, who's on the new 9 to 12, and you are on 3 to 5, I believe, down here. 3 to 5.
Yeah,
live.
3 to 5 in where I'm sitting in New York,
with Adam.
and 3 to 5 there, absolutely. And I was on with Joyce on Thursday of last week for a half hour to talk to her about the show, and also good. I'm glad, Nathan. You made history.
No, you did. We're glad you're back, and we're glad you're live and alive. So I'm going to give you a welcome back present.
All right.
You like words, Stephen?
I love words.
All right. How about Obama's scare?
That's good.
No, it's not good. It's great. Good is good. You and I are great.
But wait a minute. Obama's scare.
Yeah.
Wait. Hold on.
I want you to be Rush Limbaugh. Go ahead.
Wait. Obama's scare as it relates to what?
Obamacare.
But see, Obama's scare.
He's bullying us. I got to give you another word.
Yeah.
All right. The next thing is what do the initials BHO stand for?
Barack Hussein Obama.
All right, how about Babel, hype, and oneness?
Okay, all right. I see where you're going.
I gave it to somebody years and years ago. B stands for Babel, which means confusion.
Right.
Hype means for misleading or lying. And
right.
O means oneness, mean Narcissus. These are for you and you alone, not even my old friend J.K., not Joyce Kaufman. So you got Obama scare bullying us. It has nothing to do with Obamacare. He's proven you've talked about his BS before because it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Right. Don't be bamboozled and don't be okey-doked by Barack Obama. He lies like he breathes. He lies like he breathes. Nathan, I appreciate the exclusivity of the aforementioned, and I hope to use them in the near future.
One more thing.
Yes.
This is why I really called.
Uh-oh.
That's old news. No, that goes back to 08. Those are 08. Obama scare and Babel, hype, and oneness are all yours. The question is, what's going on over there with our embassies, and they found out maybe. Why should we believe any of that? Has anybody proved it to be true? Because once again, maybe they just want to continue to tap your phones and do this and save us from the bad ones, which of course are them.
Maybe they just want to take our mind off of the so-called phony scandals.
That's right.
Nathan, I thank you, my friend. Thank you very much. All right, folks, I hope you follow in Nathan's footsteps again, no matter where you're listening to the show, or if you're watching at Newsmax, toll-free number 855-777-9660. And Nathan, I'm sure, would attest to the fact that it is painless to make that call. All right, I don't know that we're going to have enough time here to play the sound bites, all that I wanted to get in on this Benghazi stuff, but let's do what we can. First of all, let's work backwards. Cut number 10. I want you to listen to what is absolutely going on here. This is Congressman Trey Gowdy on Greta talking about what the administration is doing to the survivors of Benghazi. Here's cut 10.
But he's the one who's blocking it. I mean, we can't find these survivors. I'd love to interview the survivors, but the administration is doing everything it can to hide them. They're dispersing them around the country. And of course, you know, the CNN report shows that even CIA operatives who were there are getting intimidated from above.
Including changing names, creating aliases. So you stop and think, what things are most calculated to get at the truth? Talk to people with firsthand knowledge. What creates the appearance or perhaps the reality of a cover-up? Not letting us talk to people who have the most amount of information, dispersing them throughout the country, and changing their names.
Yeah, and CNN broke the report, broke the story, or went with the story. It's already been previously reported on conservative sites, but they went with the story last week that up to 35 CIA operatives were working in Benghazi during the attack last September 11th on the consulate, which wound up in the death of 4 Americans, including Ambassador Chris Stevens. There are reports that it was a kind of a weapons running operation where weapons were being smuggled from Libya to Syrian rebels. That would be against or without congressional approval. That would be like Iran-Contra, but only worse. And now the administration reportedly is getting all the survivors and saying they're giving them lie detector tests like once a month to make sure they're not talking to the press or telling anybody what they know. They're being dispersed around the country. They're having their names changed. And the media is doing wall-to-wall A-Rod today. Wall-to-wall A-Rod. Something's wrong with this country. We're coming back right here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't you go away.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names.
Really? Yeah.
They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
If you're struggling to find reliable senior living information for your mom or dad, then call or go online to get the free help you need during this turbulent time. Call now, 800-908-1254, 800-908-1254.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the New York Headache Center.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Malzberg. After studying and researching the human brain for 25 years, I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my patients, and I'm so convinced it will work for you. I don't just guarantee it, I put my name on it.
Dr. Malzberg's Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast
and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2967.
I love you, son. So it hurts when you say I hate you. I'm your mother. I'm tired of you disrespecting me when you don't get your way. I work hard to make sure you have everything you need. I should be able to ask you to get out of bed in the morning without a fight. So from now on, things are going to be different. I ordered the Total Transformation Program. We're not going to scream and fight anymore. I'm going to tell you what to do in a different way, and you're going to do it. You're not going to call me ugly names anymore, and if you do, you're going to get consequences that'll keep you from calling me ugly names. We're not going to do things your way anymore, son. We're going to do things the Total Transformation way.
Get the Total Transformation free. Just order the program, tell us how it works for you, and you can keep it for free. Call 1-888-577-9520. 1-888-577-9520. Call now. Call 1-888-577-9520. 1-888-577-9520.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. You know, when I left, the story du jour, almost every jour, if you will, was Anthony Weiner. Anthony Weiner is still out there, but he is dropped in the last poll I saw. He had softened quite a bit, but he's down to fourth place in the Democratic field. Of course, only the top two will wind up in a runoff if nobody gets 40% or more of the vote. So it's likely that there will be two people involved in a runoff, and it's likely that it will not be Anthony Weiner. Although I think we've gone at least a day or two without any new revelations. I was drawn to an op-ed piece in the New York Times last week while on vacation. Of course, what was I doing? Sitting there reading the op-ed section of the New York Times to try to get angry. But I came across one by Susan Jacoby, who was most recently the author of the ebook The Last Men on Top. And Susan, who's also a columnist, of course, joins us. Hey, Susan, how are you?
I'm fine.
Good.
After having my author website nearly crash.
Why did that happen?
Well, I got a lot of people took it very personally. I mean, as you know, what this piece was about was everybody is sort of looking at this through what I think is a really old paradigm, which is powerful men abusing women. But take Weiner out of it for a minute. I would like to. The fact is having sex online is something that millions of Americans, both with strangers, something that millions of Americans, both men and women, are doing. And, leaving aside the political story of this guy is married and all of that, it's a big change in the way people live. And I got an awful lot of emails from people saying, well, who are you to judge? Who are you to judge me? People taking it rather personally, to say the least.
Well, I guess most of those would be women who you said aren't doing themselves self-esteem-wise any favors by sitting in a computer and having sex with men they don't know online. I guess that's the focal point of, or the main type of person who wrote you.
Well, what I said is neither women nor men are actually doing themselves much of a favor. I think there are a lot of problems with this, but the silly, the kind of, I consider the reaction of the media to the Anthony Weiner story at this point basically about, with the maturity of a 15-year-old, actually. This is how I see the Weiner story. He's not going to be mayor of New York because only old people vote in primaries. Judging from my emails from people under 30, I suspect that in spite of the fact that he's married, worried that the attitude of younger voters toward this transgression would be quite different. But I think we really have to think about what does it mean in a society when people are choosing to do that at night as opposed to meeting and having sex with real people. You know, you can say those are not mutually exclusive, but in fact, if you're spending all of your time online, just if you're spending all of your time texting friends instead of actually seeing them and having dinner with them and having a drink with them, it can become, you know, a substitute for the real thing.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I believe that what Weiner did, if you're married, it absolutely is cheating.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not just the act of you know, intercourse or touching someone that makes it cheating. I mean, if you're you know, consumed by it and you're spending your time there instead of with your wife or husband or whatever, you're cheating.
And you can't stop yourself.
Right,
from doing
right.
it.
But here's the thing. You mentioned, you know, powerful men and abusing women. Was Hillary abused?
Hillary? Oh, now we're going back. We're going.
Well, yeah. I mean, powerful. We're going back to pretexting. I mean, you know, here's the president of the United States, governor of Arkansas, you know, presidential candidate, whatever. I mean, Hillary. I always thought Chelsea was the one who was really abused.
You know what? We always have to frame these things in terms of obviously real sex is different from online sex.
Right.
But I, you know, one of the things that I know, and anybody who's ever been married knows, is you don't know what goes on in other people's marriages. I am disgusted, and I was disgusted, by the way, at the time of the Clinton thing. I wish I had not a dollar, but a dime for every woman who said to me at the time of the Clinton episode, "Oh, if my husband were unfaithful to me, I would leave him." And now there's all of this criticism of Huma Abedin. Why does she?
Well, I was going to get to her. Yeah, we will get to her. Yeah.
Well, I don't know why they do it. All I know that it's very easy for all kinds of people who don't have 2-year-olds or who haven't been married to somebody for 30 years, as was the case with the Clintons, to make all sorts of pronouncements about what they would or wouldn't do. And I'm not making those kind of pronouncements. I'm saying, as far as the Weiner thing goes, that there is a lot to be disturbed about the fact that so many people are finding their sexual gratification with strangers. I think that it's part of a whole larger online culture, a virtual culture that's an as-if culture. I think that's a lot more disturbing than one schmuck who is not going to be elected mayor of New York and what's going on in his marriage. And I don't make statements about abuse about other people's marriage.
No. But you said, well, first of all, we're talking to Susan Jacoby, the author most recently of the ebook "The Last Men on Top," here on the Steve Malzberg Show. She had an op-ed piece in the New York Times, Weiner's Women. You talk about in the piece a little bit about how, you know, Weiner is vilified, but his sexting partner, at least Leathers, who, by the way, the media doesn't really mention her left-leaning views and her working for the Obama campaign and signing a petition online that she thought Sarah Palin was inciting violence. That seems to go away in the media coverage. But nonetheless, they glorify her, make her seem like a victim, but, you know, the guy is evil. So combine that with, well, let's focus on that. Why is that? Why does the media, you know, why is this poor woman described as a poor woman when to me, she's Weiner. She said, if I could, I'd marry my legs. She talks about her hair, her lips, her legs. She's Weiner, the female version of Weiner.
Because the media are seeing this through an old paradigm. Things that people do to people in person, spousal abuse, abuse of girlfriends, things like that. We are looking at this through that paradigm. But in fact, there is nothing that is more of an equalizer than the internet. All I have to do if a stranger sends me pictures like Anthony Weiner's is delete them and block him.
Right.
In other words, it's a lot easier for a woman to stop this kind of thing than if some creep hits on her in a bar. And so I think looking at this in terms of women victims, men brutes, that doesn't work for the internet. We have to really think about what it says about our society as a whole. There are millions of Sidney Leatherses out there. There are millions of Anthony Wieners. Not all of them are married, so they're not hurting anybody else. But I don't mind. I'm not judging anybody personally at all. But what I say is that we are what we do. How we spend our time is who we are. And if we're spending our time texting friends and blowing them off, not being there for them when they need to go to the hospital, or not being there for them when they actually need to talk personally, in more than 13 characters, then we're substituting a device for friendship. And if what we're doing is getting sexual gratification with strangers because it's easier than putting on your lipstick and going out, then we're changing the very nature of what it means to have human relationships.
Absolutely, and I think that's been apparent for quite a long time. And
I see the Wiener story as a kind of high beam on what's going on out there in society in general.
Right, but in Wiener's case, if he wasn't doing this, I think there's a chance he'd be flashing himself on the subway somewhere.
Something else.
Yeah.
Sure. Of course.
I don't just mean having an affair. I mean he might be flashing himself in subways or something.
No, it's obvious that a politician who has that much to lose, who does this kind of stuff, is compulsive.
Right, but I want to get back to something, if I can, Susan. Something you said about powerful men have been abusing women for a long, long time, and I'm just asking here. To me, doesn't that mindset or that claim just go right along with poor Leathers and evil Wiener? Because how are women abused? How are women abused by powerful men? I don't understand.
In terms of the Wiener case, this is not a case.
Well, no, but you said forever, basically.
Well, that's easy.
How?
You look at the difference between Wiener, whose partners on the internet are all consensual, and the mayor of San Diego, who is hitting physically on women who work for him. That is abuse of women.
Right.
That is sexual harassment.
Okay, I get that.
There is the difference. When you use your power to physically make demands out of women for whom it can be a problem to say no, then you are abusing your power. What I'm saying is online sex does not fit that paradigm.
No. All right, I agree with you. So getting back to Hillary, I mean, her husband didn't just have an affair or two or three or four. I mean, there was Kathleen Willey accusing him of sexual assault. There was Juanita Broderick accusing him of rape. There was Paula Jones saying he took out took it out, to quote from Seinfeld. There was all those things, and that's why I said, did Bill Clinton abuse Hillary in that marriage?
I don't know. I don't know at what point. I mean, obviously, Bill Clinton had been cheating on his wife since day one. We knew this actually when we elected him president for the first time.
Right, when he went on 60 Minutes and he wouldn't say he didn't have an affair.
Right, I remember the 60 Minutes interviews as though it were yesterday.
Well, so does Uma, because she stole a line from Hillary.
But I am not about to pass a judgment on whether adultery is spousal abuse.
No, I didn't say adultery. I said when you're accused by other women of sexual assault, rape, and pulling it out. I mean, that's a pattern.
I don't know whether Bill Clinton ever did any of those things. I don't know anything about whether Bill Clinton.
But you don't, but you seem to know that the San Diego mayor, who's also a Democrat, did do it.
Well, he admits it.
Well, he's going for help. I don't know how much he admits, if he admits all of it, but anyway.
It's true that I do tend to take, when a retired Air Force admiral comes forth and tells her story, I do tend to take that more seriously than I do the stories of people like Paula Jones or Sidney Leathers, who are getting all the publicity they can out of it.
Well,
I do.
It wasn't.
But the Clinton story is an old story. I have no idea. I know that any politician now who has ever had affairs with women. If the woman feels she has nothing to lose, you're going to always get a whole parade of women coming forward, whether they did it or not. Obviously, Bill Clinton, all I can say that we know about him for sure is he was a serial adulterer.
And lied under oath to a grand jury and was impeached and disbarred and whatever. All right, listen, I appreciate it, Susan. Fun talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Susan Jacoby, ladies and gentlemen, author, her latest book, ebook, The Last Men on Top. And it just struck me. I had to go back to that because she specifically said that near the beginning of the interview that powerful men have been abusing women for forever, for all time. And I just wanted to get her definition of abuse and give some examples. And it's amazing how to this day, Bill Clinton gets a pass. And did she use Paula Jones as the example? Yeah, Paula Jones. Well, I'd rather believe a woman who served in the military and says she was abused than Paula Jones. I mean, after all, who was she? She was white trash, right? Remember that? And Monica Lewinsky was out of her mind, and Kathleen Willey was trying to blackmail the press. Everybody had a story. It was never Bill. Remember the crooked finger? And I wouldn't even care about Bill Clinton, except that he is the god of the Democratic Party. He was the keynote at their convention. Even Joe Scarborough gets on his knees and says, "Oh, it's a shame you can't run again, Mr. President. We need you." And a Republican congressman says rape, and the Republicans are all a party of rape who hate women. You figure it out. We're coming back. Hey, 855-777-9660. You want to weigh in on this double standard, obvious double standard, 855-777-9660. It's toll free, of course, on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency. Do you know the number one cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-910-3470. That's 1-800-910-3470. Call 1-800-910-3470.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
It was reported today that the White House just approved an exemption in Obamacare coverage for Congress and members of their staff. Yeah, well, members complained that the Affordable Care Act would cost them thousands extra a year in premiums. Wait a minute, it's their bill. If it's too expensive, why did they name it the Affordable Care Act? You see? Why they call it what it really is? The do as we say, not as we do act. That is what the name of it. That's the name of the bill. Exactly. Exactly. And,
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Jay Leno, and I believe Barack Obama is going to be on the Jay Leno Show. I don't know when exactly. I don't know. Isn't he on vacation in Martha's Vineyard? Well, soon. He'll be, well, maybe he's not there yet. He'll be there. He'll be on Jay Leno soon. Maybe this week, maybe next week. I forget. But he's not going to like that kind of joke. And it was revealed last week. There was a story, one of the other stories I read on vacation, was that Obamacare is going to hit hard families with children who have certain disabilities, and most specifically Down syndrome. And the study showed that there's going to be certain limitations placed on FSAs. Okay, under Obamacare, there's going to be a limitation on how much you could put into an FSA, not a health savings account, but I think it's called a family savings account. And a lot of people with kids with, various disabilities, including this article is focused on Down syndrome, use a lot of that money to pay for different needs, and that money is tax deductible. It comes out before taxes, and now there's going to be a limit placed on that, and people with kids with Down syndrome and other disabilities and ailments are going to lose out. They're going to lose out under Obamacare. But let's not talk about that. Let's keep it quiet. It's Barack Obama. It's not George Bush. If this was George Bush's plan, if this was the Republicans' plan, we could have a whole 2-week-long series of reports on how the Republicans and Bush hate disabled children. But it's Obamacare. So really, screw them. Screw them. And I don't mean him. I mean the kids, right? Who cares? It's a phony scandal. It's a phony report. Everything against Obama is phony. Now let me take you back. Do you remember this beauty from one of the previous times? I think this might have been the first time. It was after he was elected. First time after his first election, when Barack Obama, and this will be cut 11, Barack Obama went on the Jay Leno show and talked about the bowling alley in the White House and what he bowled. You remember this? Here's cut number 11.
Are they going to put a basketball? I imagine the bowling alley has been just burned and closed down.
No. I've been practicing
Really?
bowling.
Really?
I bowled a 129.
Oh, no, that's very good. Yeah. Oh, that's very good, Mr. President.
This is like Special Olympics or something.
No, that's very good.
No, listen, I'm making progress on the bowling.
All right, what you could barely hear there, and certainly Jay didn't pick up on it or didn't reference it, he says it's like the Special Olympics. That's what our president said back in 2009 on Jay Leno, talking about the bowling alley in the White House. He bowled a 129, and Leno said, oh, no, that's good. And then Leno makes a face, and Obama says, yeah, it's like the Special Olympics. Huh? Oh, he later apologized, of course, but that was in him to say that. That was in him, and he gets a pass. He got a pass then. He gets a pass forever. And now, some of those same children with the same kind of mental disability are being punished, or the parents of those kids are, and ultimately it trickles down to the kids, because Obamacare, according to the report I read last week, limits tax-deductible contributions, puts a cap on the tax-deductible contributions a family can make to an FSA account, and the whole story focused on especially parents of kids with Down syndrome. But what do you expect from a president who says when he bowls a 120, it's like he's bowling like he's in the Special Olympics? Ha, 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 ha. Very funny, isn't it? Folks, what can I tell you? Had this been the Republicans, Bush, or the leadership, it would have been a war on mentally disabled children. Special needs, that's the proper term. I'm sorry. Special needs children. That's what it would be, a war on special needs children. The Republicans hate them. But it's Obama. So it's spelled S-H-H-H-H-H on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. American embassies and consulate in 19 Mideast and African nations will remain closed today, and they'll stay that way until the weekend. Officials are scrambling to uncover the details of an al-Qaeda plan that could spark the most serious terror attacks in recent years. The threat comes from al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, the same group that's tried to bring down U.S.-bound jetliners with bombs hidden in underwear and computer printers. Reports show intelligence agents have intercepted communications from al-Qaeda leaders discussing attacks against unspecified Western targets.
Because of the specificity, because of where it's coming from, the credibility of it, the level of chatter, it seems to be a fairly large operation.
The State Department also issued a global travel alert warning Americans to be watchful when traveling overseas. It was 15 years ago this week. Al-Qaeda bombed 2 U.S. embassies in East Africa, and last September, Islamic extremists killed 4 Americans in the attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi. And in Los Angeles, a man is now under arrest for allegedly driving into a crowd at the Venice Beach Boardwalk Saturday, killing a woman from Italy who was here on her honeymoon. He also injured 11 others. Surveillance video shows a man in a black car accelerating into the crowd, hitting people along a quarter-mile stretch of the boardwalk, and then driving away. A couple of hours later, 38-year-old Nathan Campbell walked into a police station and said he was involved. He's now being held on $1 million bail.
And then he just started going straight down the boardwalk about 60 miles an hour. This guy had an intent to create mayhem and massacre a lot of people.
And Iran may be ready to engage in serious talks about its nuclear program. The country's new, more moderate president says he wants to reduce antagonism and aggression while being sworn in. Hassan Rouhani took the oath of office to become Iran's new president over the weekend. Rouhani is expected to chart a much different course than his predecessor, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who was infamous for provoking the West. Rouhani's advisors say he may even engage in direct talks with the United States, but first he's got to deliver on some of his campaign promises to turn Iran's economy around, which has been hit hard in part due to sanctions. And in Egypt, 2 Islamic shrines were badly damaged by bomb attacks in the Sinai Peninsula. This is the same area where Islamist militants have stepped up attacks against the state since they deposed President Mohamed Morsi. Islamist extremists consider the shrines forbidden as they are dedicated to saints or descendants of the Prophet Muhammad. And coming up next on our Newsmax Now update, Heisman winner Johnny Manziel, now at the center of an NCAA investigation. Plus, see how this could affect his season. Plus, a Newsmax exclusive with GOP Chairman Reince Priebus. What does he think about threats from Republican lawmakers to shut down the government over Obamacare?
What is LigNet? LigNet is knowledge. LigNet is power. LigNet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is LigNet? LigNet is confidential. LigNet is sensitive. LigNet is security. What is LigNet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on lignet.com. You've been briefed.
Obamacare. More than $1 trillion in new costs. Hidden taxes, fees, big Medicare cuts, doctor shortages. How can we survive?
To know Obamacare is to survive Obamacare. The Obamacare Survival Guide tells you everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794.
Welcome back. Last year's Heisman Trophy winner is now at the center of an NCAA investigation. Johnny Manziel, a quarterback at Texas A&M, is accused of signing items in exchange for a fee while being honored at the BCS championship game in January. Now, ESPN reports he was paid upwards of 5 figures to sign some items. The NCAA does strictly prohibit athletes from accepting any payment for commercial products. And during a Newsmax exclusive with GOP Chairman Reince Priebus, we talk about the possible shutdown of the government in order to defund Obamacare.
While I agree we shouldn't spend a nickel of taxpayer money on Obamacare, you have to look at the tactic of shutting the government down and whether or not the tactic of that and whether that's going to be successful is worth doing it.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for August 8th. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Kicking off hour number 2 of the Steve Malzberg Show, and of course, show number 1 of the new version, powered by Newsmax, as they like to say, as we debut at 850 WFTL in South Florida. Sitting in Barsky's slot, and we wish Barsky the best during his medical leave. I'll be with you each day from 3 to 5 Eastern Time while Barsky is out. And, of course, for the rest of you, 3 to 6 on Newsmax.com. News Talk 1160 in Atlanta, WCFO, and XM Radio 244. So that's the deal. Now, when we hit the air an hour ago, we had the breaking news just coming over, Major League Baseball announcing the suspension of Alex Rodriguez, along with 12 others. But Rodriguez gets a suspension that will be for the rest of this year, beginning Thursday. Not quite sure why they gave him till Thursday. And then all of the 2014 season and coming back in 2015. He can appeal because he was suspended under the violation of the basic agreement that Major League Baseball has with the Players Association. He could appeal to an arbitrator if he chooses, and he could keep playing pending his appeal. Joining us now to talk about this and what could have been is Lou Rom. He is analyst for the Bleacher Report, BleacherReport.com. Hey, Lou, how are you? I don't hear Lou. Hello, Lou.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, good to hear. Good. Thank you. I'm fine. Thanks for coming on. So, A-Rod gets, first of all, just it's probably the stupidest question, but one that's bothering me. Why didn't it, start today? Why is it starting Thursday, the suspension?
Yeah, I have no idea. That's really curious. But then again, with this whole scenario, really would anything surprise anybody at this point?
I guess not. Now, was there ever really a chance, do you believe, that Commissioner Bud Selig would have used the best interest of baseball clause, which is basically, and I'm not knocking, I'm just saying basically it's dictatorial. He could have said, I'm suspending A-Rod in the best interest of baseball until 2015, and then A-Rod, if he was to appeal, I presume, would have had to go through the court system, not to a baseball arbitrator, and would not have been able to play pending the results of that appeal. So was there ever any real chance, do you believe, that Selig would have taken that route?
I think that was a possibility at one point. I think, however, that and I wrote about this last week or a few days ago, that I think what happened is that the commissioner and the league became aware that they ran a great risk of turning A-Rod, however hard as that may be to believe, into a martyr by doing that. If you take this guy and you hit him with the best interest, under the CBA, and you don't allow him an appeal and you don't allow him due process, already, in the last week or so, there have been rumblings that A-Rod was getting the shaft. They went ahead and did that.
No, that's very true, and I'm looking here for the what baseball said about A-Rod, and this is probably what made him a little different than some of the others who were suspended today, and I also want to get to those. But Major League Baseball said that, well, I don't have the quote here. I'm looking at the wrong report. But basically, they talked about his use over the years, his denials of the use, and maybe I think they mentioned possibly impeding an investigation. So these are some things they might have on A-Rod or believe they have on A-Rod that they don't have on the others, and specifically the 12 others who were suspended for 50 games, which will allow, I was kind of surprised. First of all, there's a whole bunch of others that still have not been dealt with if we were to believe the original list. Secondly, the 50 games allows anybody on that list to come back and play for the playoffs for this year. So that, to me, it's kind of a silly suspension.
Yeah, it is kind of odd. 50 games is 50 games. That's the first offense, 50 games, and that is the rule. And that's why they wanted to get this handed down by today. I think it's interesting how MLB came around to doing this, Bud Selig in particular came around to doing this. Like I said, I think there was a great risk that they turn A-Rod into a martyr if they handle this wrong. And I think probably even a bigger risk is that you use the best interest clause and then A-Rod appeals that and it blows up in your face and he comes back. And they certainly didn't want to run that risk.
Right.
And I think part of the reason that Selig came around is that the relationship between the Players Association and the league has been pretty solid over the last few years. And in particular, I think that finally the MLBPA has come around to the fact that steroids and PEDs are bad for the game. And as much as they want to protect their own and look out for the interests of players, that in the end, the best interest of the game and the players is for PEDs to be rid from the game.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with that analysis. We're talking to Lou Rahm, analyst for the Bleacher Report at BleacherReport.com here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I'm looking at this list. Interesting to Nelson Cruz of the Rangers, of course, out, but he could come back for the playoffs. Johnny Peralta, the shortstop for the Tigers, he's on the list. Francisco Cervelli, Yankees, he's on the DL. So you got Cervelli on the DL. Valdespin of the Mets in the minors. You got Montero of the Mariners in the minors. You got Puello, I think, or if that's how you say his name, Mets outfielder Cesar Puello. He's in the minors. Another guy from the Astros in the minors. Another Yankee outfielder in the minors. So and then you got a couple of free agent pitchers who aren't even pitching for anybody right now. So you only have a couple of 3 or 4 guys that are affected besides A-Rod so far after today.
Right, and what's interesting to me is, so how do you lay down the 50-game suspension on the pitchers who are free agents,
right,
who aren't on a team right now?
Yeah, good question.
I guess that's if they come back. It's kind of like a Jason Collins thing.
Good question. And these I'm sorry, and these guys in the minors, they're kicked out of the minors now too, I guess?
To be honest with you, I can't really answer that question.
Yeah,
I don't want to tell you something I'm not sure of.
All right, so what about the others? What about the other, I guess if this is 12 and A-Rod's 13, what about the other 8 or so?
Well, I assume that, there were 2 players, and their names escape me at the moment, but there were 2 players that were pointed out in the reports that I saw that specifically MLB said that they were cleared of wrongdoing.
Right.
So the other 6 or 7 or so, maybe they're still investigating, maybe down the road, but I imagine that they're probably, for this hit, they're probably going to be able to get by.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to me. One of the things that I thought was most interesting about the way this went down is that, a week ago it seemed that they were negotiating. It's funny, if you listen to A-Rod's people, they were not negotiating with MLB. The league was contacting them to negotiate.
Right.
If you listen to the league,
opposite.
They were not negotiating with A-Rod anymore. And then, of course, on Saturday when he played his first game, or was it Friday? The first game he played.
He made those remarks after the game, yeah.
You have to ask, really? You have to ask
nobody's
yourself,
ever accused him of being the brightest bulb in the bunch, I would imagine. Now, He will be, and I heard Joe Girardi say yesterday, after yesterday's game, that he's penciled in to be the starting third baseman tonight in Chicago, pending what would happen. Knowing full well probably that he would be suspended one way or another, but now that and we haven't heard from A-Rod yet, I guess, unless you know something I don't. I'm sitting here behind the desk, but I haven't heard officially that he's going to appeal. Has he made that statement yet?
Well, his lawyers have said all along that he's going to appeal. He hasn't responded since the 3 p.m. or so release, of course, from the commissioner's office.
So he'll be in the lineup. I mean, conceivably he could be playing today and tomorrow and Wednesday.
Yeah, how bizarre is that?
Oh, my God.
He's suspended from baseball for 211 games. He makes his season debut in Chicago.
Maybe there was some kind of thing in there because he accused the Yankees of not wanting him back, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe this is like a little safety valve between Major League Baseball. I'm just thinking out loud here at the top of my head. Hey, we're going to delay it 3 days. Play him if you want. It looks good for you down the road, legal action, whatever. He came back. We played him. We want him back. I don't know. Maybe it's something like that.
Yeah, I don't understand what the 3-day delay is. It's interesting, though. However, I do know that the hearing, if he does appeal in the next few days, that I'm told that he will have a hearing. His appeal will be heard through, via an arbiter, Horowitz. I can't remember his first name at the moment. And he'll have 3 weeks for that hearing. But then Horowitz has an undetermined amount of time to come down with the ruling. So theoretically, if he appeals, he could actually play the rest of the season out.
Right.
But I'm pretty confident that baseball has the goods on there. And I was talking to co-writer the other day about this, and I said, a lot of people are out there saying, why is baseball taking so long? Why is Philly taking so long? Why are they leaking so much information? It's compromising the league's credibility. And I said, really? Do you really think that Major League Baseball is going to bring, it all down on Alex Rodriguez, the richest man in baseball, the $250 million man, who has a bevy of attorneys like O.J. Simpson-esque, without the evidence?
Yeah, I think the only question is, and we'll continue this another time, and I thank you, Lou. The only question is, can A-Rod's people prove that this is somehow tainted from a man who's being paid by Major League Baseball to turn witness, and how much that would affect anything. But Lou, Ram, thank you very much, sir. Appreciate your time.
Hey, Steve, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Okay, and you can read Lou at BleacherReport.com. When we come back, we're going to talk a little textbook action. Those of you listening on WFTL know fully well what's been going on with one of the textbooks being used down there in advanced placement history classes with the bias towards, towards Islam and Muslims. We'll talk about that with a Florida State Representative, Rich Workman, on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of LigNet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard LigNet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is LigNet? LigNet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C. based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting. LigNet's staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Peter Hoekstra, also joined our advisory board staff. Every day, our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LigNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events. There are many. Every day, LigNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on LigNet's assessments. LigNet members receive unrestricted access to LigNet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, previous analyses, and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. LigNet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what LigNet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable LigNet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join LigNet for $1. Go to lignet.com.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MY-TV. 1-855-625-MY-TV.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
All right, folks, we are back, and we're very privileged to have on with us right now Florida State Representative Rich Workman, who is taking on something that I'd like to say is unbelievable, but in this post-9/11 world of ours, especially in this Obama nation of ours, it's more and more commonplace. It seems like we're bending over backwards in the direction that hardly anybody could have imagined we'd be bending over towards after 9/11. But let's welcome in Representative Workman. Hello, sir. How are you?
Well, hello, sir. Thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Well, it's my pleasure. All right. I want you to tell the folks, and a lot of the folks listening on our brand new affiliate today at WFTL know all about this, but around the country, a lot of people don't. There's a particular textbook. I believe it's Prentice Hall World History, it's called. Some of the things I've read from it relating to religion, where Islam is basically the religion and the great religion, and everything else is either secondary or evil, and this is what our kids are getting taught.
Yeah, it is very much unbelievable, and you know, it's I'll start with this and tell you that I've gotten emails and letters from both sides. Those that want to blindly accept what I've said because they hate all things Muslim, but the side that bothers me the most, although that one's terrible, are people that blindly say, leave the textbook alone, let the progressive left run the show. They know better than you, you're radical Christian, and I've never proclaimed faith had anything to do with my politics.
Right.
And your open was exactly right. You, sir, hit the nail on the head, and so many more others are missing it. It has very little to do with whether or not we teach Islam in schools, because we have world religion class, and you would expect Islam to be taught in that class like every other world religion. And in world history, you would not expect Islam to be skipped, because just like Christianity and Judaism and others, world religions changed history, right? My problem is, in this world history book, and I read it from start to finish, it whitewashes all things Muslim while being very honest about Christianity and Judaism. Let's be clear. The Crusades, a bit of a blemish on the Christian history, right? They were murderers. If you didn't proclaim your love of Jesus Christ, they massacred you. And that's said in the book. it's very clear. The First Crusade, they took over Jerusalem, and then the textbook says, and then Jews and Muslims were massacred. Well, when Muhammad took over Medina, a turning point in Islam's faith, if you didn't follow Muhammad, what did he do? He massacred you. But what does the book say? The book actually says, and the masses, and forgive me for paraphrasing, I don't have the book in front of me today, welcomed Islam and joyfully followed Muhammad.
Right. It takes two events that were for lack of a better terminology, similar in nature, both bad, and made one into an evil event and made and sanitized the other one.
Right. The PC America, the one that we're in now, says, do not offend Muslims. Do not offend anybody.
Well, look, Rich, in various parts of this world right now. In fact, in many parts of this world right now, if you're a Christian and you don't convert to Islam, or if you're just a Christian where they could kill you, they'll kill you, or burn your church, or if you dare convert from Islam to Christianity or another religion, they'll kill you. So, I mean, some things have not changed that much. Okay, so this is in Brevard County, or the Brevard School Board. How have they reacted? We only have a couple of minutes left, and what's the next step here?
Well, two school board members out of 5 have said they're going to look into it. They're having a follow-up meeting. It is an approved textbook at the state level, and I intend to take this to Tallahassee and get this book taken off the approved list. I have a meeting with the publisher very soon. I won't rest until this textbook. I got really angry when the publisher said, "What? We're doing great. It's not whitewashed." They're calling the carpet. They should immediately pause and say, "Let's go look at this." They hired a cleric to edit the Muslim section. They did not hire a rabbi or a priest to edit anything.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Do we know the name of the people who are responsible for writing this portion of the textbook? Who did it for the company or whomever?
I do, and I think I have that with me.
All right. Well, you know what? You could. We'll be in touch with your office, and I'm sure that if you Google it, and if you have Googled it, you might get some clue or some hint, and I'd be interested to see what you find. We're going to stay on top of this, along with the other people who have been interested in this story, because.
I know yeah, I'm sorry, but I know we have a time delay. But you said something, and I have to tell you
Go ahead.
It's going to fire you up, and I'll do it very quickly. This text, and I'm going to quote the best I can from memory, actually says, and I'm going to do the best I can to quote, that before Islam, Muslim women were suppressed, and they weren't allowed to vote or go to school. But since Islam, women have become equal in the faith.
And where would that be exactly?
I don't know what country we're talking about.
In this country or in Islamic Sharia law countries where they practice it? That's a good one. All right, listen, really appreciate it. So, keep in touch with us. We'll stay on top of this, and I'm going to have Chad call your guy and get the name of the person who wrote that for the textbook, because we could probably do some research and find out, if we should be shocked or not. Maybe he works for the group CARE. Who the heck knows? Florida Representative Rich Workman, thank you, sir.
Bye-bye, sir. Thank you.
You take care. All right. Look, folks, this is insane. Again, if this was a religious education and they talked about each religion, fine. But Islam is the religion. Islam is the great religion. The other religions, Judaism, Christianity, so there's something very, very wrong with that. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about, well, I can't tell you, Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you need to lose weight and would like to get paid for it, that's right, I said get paid to lose weight. Just listen to the following announcement. The makers of GCE Green Coffee Bean Weight Loss are looking for real testimonials from real people and will pay you per pound to meet or exceed your weight loss goal. Until now, the secrets of green coffee's fat-burning power has been limited, but thanks to Dr. Oz, the secret is out. And now, this authentic green coffee bean fat burner is available in easy-to-take tablets. There are no expensive meals to buy or strenuous workouts. Simply take one tablet before each meal and record your progress. Only the first 200 callers are guaranteed to be accepted into the program. So if you're serious about losing extra weight and want to earn extra cash for fitting into your skinny jeans again, call 800-383-9230 now. Call 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230. Space is limited, so hurry and secure your spot today. 800-383-9230. Some conditions apply. 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year. with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare's Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already a #1 Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today by going to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Heart disease is the biggest killer disease in America, and this doesn't surprise me. We are addicted to starches, sugars, fatty meats, and salt. People who live in countries with little heart disease eat very differently. One way some people stay heart healthy is by following what is known as the caveman or Stonehenge diet, so named because of its similarity to the way our prehistoric ancestors ate. People who follow this type of diet live off local fruits and root vegetables and get their protein mostly from fish and wild game they shoot themselves. Now, since most of us don't hunt or fish for all our protein, here are some simple tips on how you can start to eat like a caveman, modern day style. First, fill up on fruits and vegetables. Eat them first and you'll be less hungry. Feast on fish, which is rich in nutrients but not in calories. Choose fatty fish like mackerel, herring, sardines, and salmon, which are rich in heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Get out and go for a walk. Remember, our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, so they didn't spend their time sitting in front of a TV or computer all day. If you live more like a caveman or a cave woman, your heart will love you for it. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thank you for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. By the way, coming up in the next hour, we're going to be joined by Staff Sergeant Sean Manning. He is a member of the former member of the military who was wounded at Fort Hood. He is a Fort Hood shooting survivor, and he will talk to us. He's going to be testifying in the, I think, the 8th. It'll be later this week, a couple of days, at the trial of the murderer of Fort Hood, the jihadist of Fort Hood. And he's going to talk with us today basically about the classification of the terrorist attack at Fort Hood as workplace violence and not terrorism, which has caused all kinds of financial problems for the surviving family members and the surviving wounded of that attack. Also, Dallas Green, former Major League Baseball manager, who's now an advisor to the GM of the Philadelphia Phillies. He has a new book out. He will be here to talk with us about it, and also the suspension, the 211-game suspension handed down by Major League Baseball today to Alex Rodriguez. It actually starts on Thursday, and several other players receiving suspensions of 50 games earlier today as well. But joining us right now is Mary Beth Hutchins, Communications Director for the watchdog organization Cause of Action. And her group has asked the IRS to revoke the charitable status of Enroll America. Enroll America is a nonprofit whose mission, they say, is to enroll individuals into Obamacare's insurance exchanges. So, Mary Beth, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Steve, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. All right, so explain to us, first of all, your organization as a government accountability watchdog group. But you're on the lookout for what you perceive to be conflicts such as these, correct?
That's right. Cause of Action is just turning 2 years old this month, so we have been hard at work the past couple of years exposing waste, fraud, and corruption in the federal government. And what we found with Enroll America, we think fits right in line with the things that taxpayers want to know about. We've actually been looking into how the IRS does manage pre-existing charitable organizations. Our organization itself is classified as a 501c3, the same way that Enroll America is classified. And in order to preserve our own tax status, we have to prove that, our work is going to benefit the public to serve a charitable purpose. And what we see with Enroll America is, typically a 501c3 organization serves one of three purposes. They could be for scientific research or for a scientific purpose. They could serve a religious purpose, or like our organization, we serve an educational purpose. So, we're here to educate the public on what's going on in the federal government. With Enroll America, we don't believe that they're actually fulfilling any of those purposes. Instead, we think that based on what we've been able to uncover so far, based on stories that continue to come out in the media, that instead of functioning as an educational organization, they're actually functioning more like a trade association for healthcare providers. You see them going door to door, knocking on people's doors. There's a story in the Washington Post last week about how much their kind of on the ground activity really looks a lot like a political campaign. And so, our argument, which we filed before the IRS, is that instead of educating the public, they're actually serving to benefit these health insurance companies, these pharmaceutical companies, and others that have representatives on the board of Enroll America who stand to benefit from Obamacare, but specifically from Enroll America as they are going door to door, having folks enlist in health care. Their name is very accurate. They're not there to educate, they're there to enroll. And
Right.
we think that is clear evidence of providing a private benefit to these health insurance companies, which is not really a charitable purpose as they claim.
Now, given Mary Beth, given the climate around the IRS and what we know and what we're keep finding out, do you think that the revelations over the past couple of months is going to adversely or affect your efforts or enhance your efforts, make them more likely to succeed, or basically have no effect at all?
Yeah, obviously Americans have a lot of concerns about the IRS right now, and rightly so. Cause of Action just released a report last month on a concept called fiscal sponsorship, where we believe the IRS has really been overlooking how current nonprofit groups are abusing their tax status. And it appears from what's come out recently that the IRS has been otherwise occupied, kind of diverting its attention on maybe things it shouldn't be, instead of actually managing what's going on with current nonprofits. But the good thing about the type of complaint we filed is there is actually a division of the IRS that is set aside. This is one of the things it does, is reviews complaints just like this. There's a process that they go through where they have agents evaluating every complaint that is filed and determining whether a full examination should happen of the organizations against whom the complaint has been filed. So we filed this complaint with this division of the IRS, and we want to have good faith that the government will take this seriously, that in their evaluation they will see the same concerns that we have, and that they will do right by the taxpayers and really look into what is happening with Enroll America.
Yeah. All right. We're talking to Mary Beth Hutchins. She is a communications director for Cause of Action, a watchdog organization, and also California. How your efforts in California? I know you're also in contact with the State Health Exchange there to find out more about the role of Enroll America.
Yeah. So one of the things that I was actually watching Washington Journal earlier today on C-SPAN, and folks were calling in asking someone from Kaiser Health News a myriad of questions about what Obamacare really means, because unfortunately folks still don't really understand what's actually going to happen when this bill gets implemented. And so one of the things that we're doing in addition to this complaint with the IRS is helping to put these state exchanges who will actually be processing the enrollments, put them on alert that there are a lot of risks that they have in violating federal law and regulations and Office of Management and Budget circulars, and there's a lot of risks they have for this to go wrong very easily. And how this system has been designed is that, it's not cut and dry, it's not straightforward, and so we're sending letters to state health exchanges to let them know, hey, look, you need to, kind of mind your P's and Q's, like make sure that you're really sticking to the law here, because there's a lot of ways that this could go wrong. And if that's the case, then they could be at risk for, essentially violating federal law. So, we want to put these guys on alert that, we're kind of keeping an eye on this, and they can be vigilant at the get-go to help, prevent any violation of federal law as Obamacare kind of goes into effect.
All right. Well, best of luck, and keep us informed on how it goes. Mary Beth Hutchins of Cause of Action here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, folks, when we come back, some sound bites that I think you need to hear and some stories that I think you need to hear, again, that I kind of accumulated in my craw. Where is my craw? Anybody know where your craw is? I know something is stuck in it, but I don't seem to know where the craw is. We're going to let you hear, we're going to let you hear what the new, I want to get the title correct, the supervising producer for Crossfire. CNN is all starting up in September. They got Newt Gingrich. They got Van Jones, Crossfire, Stephanie Cutter, Crossfire, the return of Crossfire. Wait till you hear who the new supervising producer of Crossfire is, and it's going to convince you that there's really absolutely no need to tune into that show. In fact, on principle, you may want to stay away from that show. Ooh, what did he say? What did she say? Who is it? What's going on here? We'll tell you on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Meet Jim. Like many of us, Jim enjoys a busy life. Between work, family, and friends, his days zip along. And Jim has the energy to tackle almost anything. But lately, Jim's get up and go has literally taken on a new meaning. Jim's always put focus on a full night's sleep, but it seems like these days, he's up and down to go to the bathroom so many times he can barely wake up in the morning. His prostate concerns have him sad, tired, and worried. Activities that were once enjoyable now seem like a chore for Jim. His golf game is at the mercy of his bathroom schedule. Family outings are planned around it too. Jim even has difficulty going to the bathroom. He's tried so many prostate remedies he can't keep them straight, and nothing ever seems to help. Then Jim found out about Prostate Revive, the all-natural dietary supplement specifically formulated for men, targeted towards improving and sustaining normal prostate function. Prostate Revive includes 15 super ingredients never combined before, including saw palmetto extract, beta-cytosterol, pomegranate fruit extract, selenium, and other high-quality nutrients. These targeted and all-natural ingredients promote healthy urinary flow and optimal prostate health. And the best part is, Prostate Revive was developed by a renowned medical doctor. Dr. David Brownstein personally formulated Prostate Revive with one goal in mind, to promote a healthy prostate gland. Thanks to Prostate Revive, Jim's got his life back. He gets a full night's sleep every night, and his friends and his wife can't believe he's the same guy. He has his old energy back, and no one has to wait for him. He doesn't even think about his prostate concerns anymore. Visit MedicSelect.com to take back your nights and improve your quality of life with Prostate Revive.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Judging from everything you hear, you think all cholesterol is bad, but that's not really true. You need a certain amount of cholesterol to maintain good health. The problem is that too much cholesterol in your blood contributes to a plaque, a fatty substance that narrows the coronary arteries that feed blood flow to your heart. Picture your coronary arteries as a 4-lane highway. If one lane becomes blocked, traffic still flows well. 2 lanes, no major problem. But if a 3rd lane becomes blocked, that spells trouble. It's the same way with your coronary arteries. And when plaque slows their blood flow to your heart, this can even cause a heart attack. The good news is that when it comes to cholesterol, lifestyle changes can pay off big time. Even a small reduction in plaque can be like opening up another highway lane. Suddenly, blood flow that was stalled can go forward again. Changing your lifestyle does not have to be hard. And in fact, here are 3 ways to help you start lowering your cholesterol. Snack on nuts. Nuts are probably one of the easiest and tastiest ways to lower cholesterol. Walnuts and almonds are among the best. Bulk up your diet with fiber. Choose whole fruits instead of a fruit juice, brown rice instead of white, and if you're eating a baked potato, be sure to leave the skin on. Choose fish. Fish contains cholesterol-fighting omega-3 fatty acids. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back. Some issues to get to here. First of all, CNN. CNN, which is reinventing itself in its own failed liberal leftist image, in my humble opinion, is bringing back Crossfire with communist Van Jones and, and the person who just repeated every talking point ad nauseum over and over and over and over again, Stephanie Cutter on the left, Newt Gingrich and someone else I don't even know on the right. But joining CNN as the supervising producer of Crossfire is a guy named David Chalian. David Chalian in Cut 7 once said this while covering the Romney campaign for president.
In a way that I probably could never tell them. You know, I mean, yes, it's a character, and yes, it's exaggerated. They are happy to have a party with black people drowning. There's just truth to it. Like, it's a
Okay, what they said was, and you probably couldn't make it out through they didn't know that their mics were hot. Okay, a bunch of reporters talking about how Mitt Romney and his wife are happy to have blacks killed, blacks drown while they have a party. And they were referring to the fate of the residents in New Orleans who were being hit at the time by Hurricane Isaac. So they were happy to have I believe this was at the time of the convention. And they said, hey, you know, the Romneys, they don't care. They don't care if black people drown while they're having. So he was the head of the Yahoo News Washington Bureau, this David Chalian guy. And he got fired 2 days, I believe, after this revelation. So who hires him? CNN, of course. Because all he did was say that Republican presidential candidate and his wife didn't care if blacks drowned, right? That's nothing wrong with that. So, you want to watch Crossfire? You be my guest. You go ahead and you watch Crossfire. All right, we have a call from Delray Beach, the former home of my late uncle. May he rest in peace. I've spent many trips down in Delray. I use it as my home base when I used to cover the Yankees in Fort Lauderdale, when the Yankees were in Fort Lauderdale for spring training. In the 80s is when I did this. And let's say hello to, I don't have a name. What's the name? Terry? All right. Hey, Terry in Fort Lauderdale. In Delray Beach, listening on 850 WFTL. How are you?
That's exactly true. Thank you, Steve. I've listened to your show on other stations, and I really appreciate all your commentary.
Thank you.
I was listening with interest as a teacher of 40 years to the gentleman from Florida who was commenting on the AP History textbook.
Yeah.
And I've just had to call the show because I have that same issue with the English textbooks. How the English textbooks are being altered to include, and I would say not fairly so, in terms of demographics, amounts of literature related to Muslim life, related to all types of, the new immigrants that are entering the country.
Are we talking about Prentice Hall also, or other textbooks?
The textbook I'm referring to actually is printed and produced by the College Board.
By the College Board. And what's the name of the textbook?
Springboard.
Springboard. And okay.
It's a high school English textbook. I think there's 4 levels, one for grade 9, one for grade 10, one for grade 11, one for grade 12.
Okay.
My experience is with the grade 10 textbook.
Grade 10.
And
All
when
right.
When I looked at this textbook, I was shocked.
All right, give me one brief example if you could.
Okay, traditionally in high school in 10th grade, students read Julius Caesar. One scene of Julius Caesar was in that textbook. There were numerous stories about Latino and Hispanic and Mexican immigrants, but several stories about the Middle East and the experiences that Americans had in the Middle East, like a boy was caned. That was a piece of literature in the book. A very cute story, actually, called Funny and Farsi. That was an interesting story. And it's not to discredit these writers. What bothers me is that the way to rape a culture is through the kids.
Right.
So we're not learning about the American Indians. We're not learning about the Pilgrims. We're not learning about...
But by the time 10th grade rolls around, every kid now knows that the Pilgrims were criminals and the poor Indians were victims. And, we brought them destruction and disease and everything else, and we robbed them. And, and our presidents were slave owners. And so everybody knows that by the time 10th grade rolls around. No need to teach it to them again there.
But I'm not talking about the historical aspect.
Right, you're talking about the English, the literature aspect, literary aspect.
Yes.
Very interesting. I appreciate the call. I hope you'll spread the word about the show.
Yes, I will. I enjoy it, and the reason for my call was really just add further dimension to the prior discussion.
Thank you. I do appreciate that, and I'm sure that Representative Rich Workman would be glad to know that. Appreciate the call. Thank you. All right, folks, I want to get back to it. That was very interesting, and we do appreciate it. And again, it's toll-free call, 855-777-9660, 855-777-9660. I want you to, so that's the guy that CNN has hired. I also want you to hear this. Governor Chris Christie is the quote-unquote hottest political figure in the country, according to a new temperature poll. Voters were asked to give politicians a number from 0 to 100, representing how they feel about that figure. 0 being the least or the coldest, 100 being the most favorable or the hottest. Christie's mean score was 53.1. Hillary Clinton was 52.1. Elizabeth Warren was third at 49.2. Although 51% of voters didn't know enough about her to make a judgment. President Obama was fourth at 47.6. Ted Cruz, 46.8. And if I could scroll down to Marco Rubio, how hot is Marco Rubio? We're not talking about physical. We're talking about, politically speaking. Marco Rubio, 46.5. But Christie comes in at 53.1 for whatever it's worth. That's because people don't know enough about him to make a fair choice. Chris Christie is a rhino. There should be a picture of him, McCain, Graham, rhino. And that's with an I, not, you leave the H out. There's no H in rhino in this case. Republican in name only. In fact, give a listen to this. This is a Christie ad welcoming Democrat support. They call them Christie-crats. Cut number 8. You ready? Here we go.
There are so many Democrats endorsing Chris Christie's re-election that they actually have a name, Christie-crats. There's the support of major power brokers like Essex County Executive Joe DiVincenzo.
It is because what he has shown working across the aisle, the bipartisanship, and it's for real.
And support from small-town mayors like Jennifer Naughton of Spring Lake Borough.
And we are pleased to stand with Governor Christie on his re-election bid.
So far, 43 elected Democrats have lined up behind Christie. They say they support the Republican because he welcomed President Barack Obama after Sandy. They liked when he criticized House Republicans for holding up relief funds. And they appreciate how he's crossed party lines to support their communities.
I'm a Democrat. I've been a Democrat all my life. He made it a point to reach out for me to help me in Harrison as a Hudson County Democrat. It's unheard of.
Harrison Mayor Raymond McDonough was the first Democratic mayor to endorse Christie. He says he decided to throw his support behind the governor when he vowed to get funding for the Harrison Path station.
I've been mayor 19 years. I've been told by the Port Authority it was going to happen a number of times. Why hasn't it? He made it a point to approach me.
Now the station is poised for a $256 million overhaul.
Paid for by Christie for governor of New Jersey. He's running for re-election, of course. And his goal is to win, with 60% of the vote or more, so he could then come back and run for president and say, see, in a Democratic state, I won with 60% of the vote or more. Meanwhile, the former state attorney general of New Jersey, who he appointed to the U.S. Senate until this October or November, when he could have appointed the person for a full year and a half, voted for the amnesty immigration bill in the Senate. That's who Chris Christie is. That's why he appointed the guy. That's why the guy voted that way. That's who Chris Christie is. Remember that. And the fact that he made a whole commercial here bragging about Democratic support and how he met with the president about Sandy and blasted the Republican leadership in the House. What is he going to do? I've predicted on this show that the ticket will be Hillary. Okay, the ticket will be Hillary and Christie. I could be wrong. It happened once before. All right, this just in. The Washington Post is selling its newspaper. The Washington Post company is selling the Washington Post to the founder and chief executive of Amazon.com. Not to Amazon.com, but to the founder and CEO of Amazon.com, a man by the name of Jeffrey Bezos. Ending the Graham family's stewardship of one of America's leading organizations after 4 generations. $250 million in cash for the Post and affiliated publications. Going to be very interesting to see what happens. I don't know enough about this guy to tell you what he's going to do to it. Probably not a lot. Maybe he'll put it on Amazon. Maybe he'll sell it on Amazon. What do I know? All right, folks, we're coming back. Big hour on the Steve Malzberg Show. Dallas Green.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Tired
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
My patients still don't know what Obamacare means for them. And how could they? There are already 13,000 pages of regulations, and the bureaucrats are just getting started. Obamacare will change your health care, and you need to understand how. There are hidden taxes and fines, big cuts in Medicare, even new regulations on what services doctors can offer you. Some businesses could get hit with a 40% additional tax on your health care plan. Please, get the Obamacare Survival Guide today. It's the best book explaining the new law. It's easy to read, everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere.
Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. American embassies and consulate in 19 Mideast and African nations will remain closed today, and they'll stay that way until the weekend. Officials are scrambling to uncover the details of an al-Qaeda plan that could spark the most serious terror attacks in recent years. The threat comes from al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, the same group that's tried to bring down U.S.-bound jetliners with bombs hidden in underwear and computer printers. Reports show intelligence agents have intercepted communications from al-Qaeda leaders discussing attacks against unspecified Western targets.
Because of the specificity, because of where it's coming from, the credibility of it, the level of chatter, it seems to be a fairly large operation.
The State Department also issued a global travel alert warning Americans to be watchful when traveling overseas. It was 15 years ago this week. Al-Qaeda bombed 2 U.S. embassies in East Africa, and last September, Islamic extremists killed 4 Americans in the attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi. And in Los Angeles, a man is now under arrest for allegedly driving into a crowd at the Venice Beach Boardwalk Saturday, killing a woman from Italy who was here on her honeymoon. He also injured 11 others. Surveillance video shows a man in a black car accelerating into the crowd, hitting people along a quarter-mile stretch of the boardwalk, and then driving away. A couple of hours later, 38-year-old Nathan Campbell walked into a police station and said he was involved. He's now being held on $1 million bail.
And then he just started going straight down the boardwalk about 60 miles an hour. This guy had an intent to create mayhem and massacre a lot of people.
And Iran may be ready to engage in serious talks about its nuclear program. The country's new, more moderate president says he wants to reduce antagonism and aggression while being sworn in. Hassan Rouhani took the oath of office to become Iran's new president over the weekend. Rouhani is expected to chart a much different course than his predecessor, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who was infamous for provoking the West. Rouhani's advisors say he may even engage in direct talks with the United States. But first, he's got to deliver on some of his campaign promises to turn Iran's economy around, which has been hit hard in part due to sanctions. And in Egypt, 2 Islamic shrines were badly damaged by bomb attacks in the Sinai Peninsula. This is the same area where Islamist militants have stepped up attacks against the state since they deposed President Mohamed Morsi. Islamist extremists consider the shrines forbidden as they are dedicated to saints or descendants of the Prophet Muhammad. And coming up next on our Newsmax Now update, Heisman winner Johnny Manziel, now at the center of an NCAA investigation. Plus, see how this could affect his season. Plus, a Newsmax exclusive with GOP Chairman Reince Priebus. What does he think about threats from Republican lawmakers to shut down the government over Obamacare?
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com. In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at Aftershock2013.com. Aftershock2013.com.
Obamacare. More than $1 trillion in new costs. Hidden taxes, fees, big Medicare cuts, doctor shortages. How can we survive?
To know Obamacare is to survive Obamacare. The Obamacare Survival Guide tells you everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Welcome back. Last year's Heisman Trophy winner is now at the center of an NCAA investigation. Johnny Manziel, a quarterback at Texas A&M, is accused of signing items in exchange for a fee while being honored at the BCS championship game in January. Now, ESPN reports he was paid upwards of 5 figures to sign some items. The NCAA does strictly prohibit athletes from accepting any payment for commercial products. And during a Newsmax exclusive with GOP Chairman Reince Priebus, we talk about the possible shutdown of the government in order to defund Obamacare.
While I agree we shouldn't spend a nickel of taxpayer money on Obamacare, you have to look at the tactic of shutting the government down and whether or not the tactic of that and whether that's going to be successful is worth doing it.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for August 8th. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. And I can't even believe that it's gotten to this, but it has gotten to this. The fact that the Fort Hood shooter, Nidal Hasan, the jihadist Nidal Hasan, representing himself, is going to be able to put victims on the stand this week and ask them questions. I don't know how the military ever allowed this to occur. There are witnesses who saw this man do what he did. It's not a question even of guilt or innocence. He wrote recently wrote a letter to Fox News explaining in great detail, yet very simply, why he did what he did. And that was because, in his view, America's at war with Islam and Muslims and have killed Muslims. And he had to take matters into his own hands. And he had to kill those people, the 13, and wound the dozens others at Fort Hood back in 2009 to stop them from going ahead and killing more Muslims. This was an act of jihad, yet it's been classified as workplace violence by our government, even though there was an interesting soundbite that I was the first to pick up on, and maybe even one of the only ones to pick up on, because I haven't heard it many other places. But joining us right now to talk about all of this, especially the classification of this case and what it means, is Staff Sergeant Sean Manning, who was shot 6 times by the Fort Hood terrorists, and he joins us now. And Sergeant, thank you so much for taking the time, sir.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. I mean, I like so many other Americans feel so passionately about this. And let's start with the classification here. I want you to listen to a soundbite. Can we get 23, Will? I'm sorry. I want you to listen to something. And of course, it was our government that to this day has classified this, and it still stands. This act of jihad, this blatant act of jihad, knowing this man's history, knowing what the witnesses heard him shout out, Allah Akbar, the whole thing, the letter to Fox, still classifies this as workplace violence, like a postal worker going into work and shooting the place up for no reason. But yet, listen to what the president said just a few months ago when he gave his speech on terrorism. And I played this an hour later after he said it, and I said, is this marking some kind of change in policy? Here's the cut.
Deranged or alienated individuals, often U.S. citizens or legal residents, can do enormous damage, particularly when inspired by larger notions of violent jihad. And that pull towards extremism appears to have led to the shooting at Fort Hood and the bombing of the Boston Marathon.
All right. Now, I'll ask you, not meaning to insult you because I'm sure you are, but are you aware of that? And does that give you any hope that the classification, Sergeant, may be changed?
It gives me some hope that we're hopefully going in the right direction and they're going to finally acknowledge what his motives were behind the shooting. I mean, this has been a long and drawn-out process. I mean, the Army knew that Hassan was radicalized even before he was set to deploy with us. The FBI had obviously picked up on some emails between him and Anwar al-Awlaki and deemed it too politically sensitive to interview him or pass the information along to the Army. So, I mean, I think they've downplayed this from the beginning, you know, for whatever reason, and the victims have been caught in the middle, which has been pretty frustrating for all of us.
All right. Now tell us and tell the folks what it means to someone like you who survived and the difference between this being classified as a place of workplace violence compared to a classification of an act of terrorism if they do change it to what it should be. How would that affect you, and how has it affected you negatively?
Well, I mean, obviously recognizing the soldiers that were killed and wounded that day as dying, you know, because of an enemy action, you know, an act of combat, you know, I think that gives credence to some of their sacrifices, but also, I mean, there's a benefits piece to it. You know, having your injuries classified as combat related, you know, in my particular case, I'm a reservist, but I'm also an Army federal employee. So when I'm activated to the reserves, they make up that difference that I lose in pay. As soon as I was shot, I mean, my injuries were deemed non-combat related. I started to lose that, or they stopped that pay. You know, essentially like I'm being punished for being shot and requiring medical attention after getting hit or shot 6 times. It means a lot in the realm of priority of care in the VA and that sort of thing as well, and tax exclusions, and, you know, I mean, there's a long list of combat-related benefits that are associated with that as well for the families and those that were killed and those that were wounded.
And yet at the same, I'm sorry, I was going to say at the same time, Sergeant, Nidal Hassan has received well over $200,000, almost $300,000, I believe, in benefits and salary since he shot the place up.
Yeah, and the whole trial and everything else has cost, I believe, somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 million. I mean, for a guy who's overwhelmingly guilty and acknowledges that he's guilty. So, I mean, that puts a bigger spin on things, too, that they're denying soldiers that were wounded and killed benefits, but yeah, Hassan continues to keep his pay.
How would you describe it? An injustice, a travesty, both, politically motivated? How do you describe this classification?
I would say all of the above. I mean, there was so little information coming out of the Army in the aftermath of the shooting. I mean, it almost seemed like they were trying to downplay Hassan's motivations and what he did, and you know, now all this stuff is starting to come out, you know, with the Webster report coming out last year, too. I mean, I think that opened up another piece of information. But, yeah, I mean, I guarantee there's some political motivation behind the classification. I mean, the Army last year, or the Pentagon, made a statement that they couldn't reclassify the shooting because of the trial, that it may influence the potential jurors. But that's never been the case in any other case of terrorism, and we've always, if the motives look like it's an act of terrorism, we classify it as an act of terrorism. I mean, for instance, the most recent Boston bombing, we didn't withhold that classification. So,
well, then, Sergeant, do you believe that this was classified the way it was to be? Does this fall into the overwhelming nonsense and dangerous, precedents of political correctness, or do you believe it was done to, not sully the history of terrorist attacks under Barack Obama?
I'd say probably a little bit of both. The FBI acknowledged in an email that this was politically sensitive to interview this guy. A commissioned officer with a security clearance talking to a high-ranking Al-Qaeda recruiter, which makes no sense to me. I mean, how could you deem this guy fit to deploy with other soldiers and trust him with, we have to trust him with our lives, and he's out to kill us. So.
We're talking to Staff Sergeant Sean Manning. He was shot 6 times at Fort Hood by Major Nadal Hassan, the Fort Hood shooter, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Congratulations on returning to work. I know you're working outside of Fort Lewis near Washington, and that's good. But I do want to ask you, you have talked to members of Congress about this classification. Anybody you want to mention that you talked to, and what's the response been?
Congressman Rooney, Congressman King, Congressman McCall, Congressman Carter. They've all been.
Which King? Which King would that be? Stephen or Peter?
Peter.
Okay.
Yeah. They've always been. I mean, they've been really supportive. They put forth legislation, which has passed the House, but unfortunately, when the National Defense Authorization Act was finally passed, it had been pulled out, which I'm assuming there was some opposition in the Senate. Obviously, Senator Lieberman, before he retired, was instrumental. He acted and actually put forth the ticking time bomb report, which the Army's internal report was vague and never mentioned Islamic radicalism and never really mentioned his motives. And Lieberman actually went out there and tried to get to the truth and look at how flawed everything really was. So,
Sergeant, let me ask you about the trial. I know you don't want to talk about your testimony till you testify, but. The fact that this guy's going to be asking, is he going to be asking you questions?
He will have the option to cross-examine me because he's acting as his own defense attorney. So
how will you go into that? I'm not asking you what you're going to say, but how will you go into that mentally? How do you prepare for that now, looking ahead? What is it, a couple of days from now?
Yeah. I'm hopeful that he won't ask any questions, but it's going to be really hard to keep my composure and be cordial to a guy that killed my friends and tried to murder me. I mean, so I'm going to have a hard time restraining myself. I mean, I hope that I will, that I don't say anything that's going to hurt the trial or hurt the case, but, it's going to be difficult. I try to brainstorm what it's going to be like. I've seen him in the Article 32 hearings, so this won't be the first time I've seen him in court, but he didn't speak and didn't ask any questions, obviously, then. So
with everything else, all the injustices, the financial injustices, the classification injustices, which have led to the financial injustices, and the fact that he's getting all this money and has gotten all this money, is this almost like the? I don't want to say that. I mean, is this almost like the worst of all, that this guy could be representing himself and be able to cross-examine his victims?
I think it is. I guess everybody has the right to defend themselves, but, at the same time, here's the guy that tried to murder you. And to me, it's almost like it's the icing on the cake, with everything else that has gone on with the delays in the trial and still getting paid and the decision not to try him in federal court. They could have tried him in federal court under federal terrorism statutes, but obviously the Attorney General made a different decision and decided to go a different route, which would have meant that he wouldn't be getting paid right now, too. So, that's...
Right. No, absolutely. All right. Listen, Sergeant, thank you so very much. And just know that the American people are with you. There's not a a whole lot. Unfortunately, you know, the media would rather just focus round the clock on I guess A-Rod and whatnot, and any excuse not to focus on this or any of the other scandals that should be shocking and outraging a nation. But just know that the American people, when they are told about this, when they talk about this, you know, their heart breaks for you guys, and we all pray for you. And I know you'll have the strength to get through whatever is thrown your way this week in the courtroom.
All right. I thank you very much for having me on.
My pleasure, and maybe we'll talk afterwards. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Bye-bye. That's Staff Sergeant Sean Manning, shot 6 times by Major Nadal Hassan. Sean Manning is getting very, 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 very little financial support from the U.S. military for being shot 6 times. And Major Nadal Hassan, the murderer, is getting hundreds of thousands of dollars and a $4, $5, $6 million trial for being the jihadist shooter. And you tell me what's wrong with this picture. You're telling me Obama, who says Trayvon looks like me, who says I'm troubled by the verdict, who the U.S. military has already reprimanded because he's made statements about sexual assault, alleged sexual assault, and its pre-prejudiced trials. They're afraid, with all this proof, with the man himself saying, I did it for jihad, I did it for Allah, I did it for Muslims. They're afraid to change the categorization of this shooting to terrorism from workplace violence because it'll prejudice an outcome? Give me a break. And remember, this is workplace violence. And if you like your doctor, you could keep your doctor. And these scandals are all phony. And Al-Qaeda is on the run. They've been decimated. And if I had 3 more hours from now, I'd keep going. Dallas Green will join us shortly. Talk about the A-Rod suspension. He's not only is he former manager and pitcher, but he's also the advisor to the general manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, who lost a relief pitcher, Antonio Bastardo. He's one of those suspended today by Major League Baseball, along with A-Rod. We'll talk about all that a little bit later on this hour on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530. That's 800-460-1530. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-1530. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Guys, you've heard about Ageless Male, the natural supplement that helps boost testosterone levels within normal, healthy ranges. But now, the best testosterone product is even better. New and improved Ageless Male can help you feel more like you used to in your active life and in your romantic life. Because our upgraded formula has been clinically shown to increase your drive, desire, and performance. That's right, guys. Ageless Male has been clinically shown to boost performance. Cancel your plans this weekend. You're staying in. If you're ready to recapture the drive from your youth, now is the time to try Ageless Male because it's available risk-free. But you must call now. Just call 1-800-460-9790. Be the guy you used to be. Just call 1-800-460-9790. 1-800-460-9790. 1-800-460-9790.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794.
Sure, Steve might be a bit of a hypochondriac, but he never gets sick of breaking news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call Steve at 1-855-777-9660. That's 1-855-777-9660. Here's Steve.
Yeah, the Washington Post has 8 pages when you print out the story on the sale of the Washington Post. 8 pages! All right, must have been a shock to them. They had no idea. All right, let me Dallas Green coming up and at the bottom of the hour in just a few minutes, about 6 minutes from now on the Steve Malzberg Show. Indiana prosecutors have dropped murder and attempted feticide charges against an Indianapolis woman who tried to kill herself by eating rat poison near the end of her pregnancy. Rat poison near the end of her pregnancy. B.B. Shuai, I don't know, S-H-U-A-I, Shuai, 36 years old, charged back in March of 2011, with knowingly killing a viable fetus. Let me ask you a question. When Peterson killed his baby before it was born, it was murder of the baby. The Cleveland guy, even though he's not getting life, they charge him with murder. That was of an unborn baby. Why is this woman charged with knowingly killing a viable fetus? The heck is that? Anyway, she walked out of Marion County Superior Court. Matter of opinion how superior it is. But-um-bum. Actually, I don't need to say but-um-bum. Let's see. No. Wait a minute. Nobody move. Well, we're not turned on anyway. You missed Miss Rachel Gentile. No, you missed her again. Anyway, okay, forget it. But she says she had been released from prison on bond in May of 2012 under a plea agreement, okay, because she pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor charge of criminal recklessness for the death of her newborn daughter, Angel. See, I don't get the whole thing. Newborn daughter, fetus, I don't get it. And they named the baby. I don't get it. She consumed rat poison while 33 weeks pregnant, December of 2010. She was taken to a hospital. She admitted to attempting to kill herself after her boyfriend left her. The baby girl, Angel Shuai, was born alive but died a few days after being taken off of life support. She's from China. She has no family members in the U.S. So, explain to me, this baby was born and then died. She actually is responsible for the death of a born-alive baby. So she's free now. She'll have another baby. Maybe she'll kill it. Maybe she won't on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Obamacare. President Obama's massive health care law is taking effect this year. With over 15,000 pages of regulations, few even know what it means. Now, the Obamacare Survival Guide by Nick Tate gives you the shocking facts about this law. It's a step-by-step guide on how you can protect yourself. Already the New York Times bestseller, every American needs to get the Obamacare Survival Guide and find out about the new taxes, hidden fees, fines, Medicare changes, business rules, and why doctor shortages are likely. Donald Trump says the Obamacare Survival Guide is a must-read for anyone worried about getting good health care for themselves or their employees. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's at bookstores or get our special offer at Obamacare911.com and you'll save $15. Go now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54. With a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some. Once a Democrat, then a Republican. A champion of smaller government whose own government grew. A fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. If you know baseball, or if you've grew up in New York and have followed the Yankees and the Mets, or of course, the Phillies or whatever, you know the name Dallas Green because he managed the Phils and the Yankees and the Mets, and he also, of course, took the Phils to the World Series in 1980, and he is currently senior advisor to the general manager of the Phillies and the author of a great new book, The Mouth That Roared. It's My 6 Outspoken Decades in Baseball by Dallas Green. Hey, Dallas, how are you, sir?
Fine, Steve. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. First, let me start by asking about today's suspensions by Major League Baseball. And even though one of your players are affected, I'll get to that in a second. Let's start with, of course, the marquee name in the news today, and that's A-Rod. 211 games, and your reaction to that?
Well, you know, this thing has boiled over, obviously, and should. I just attended alumni weekend with the Phillies, and Jim Bunning and Dalton and a lot of the guys were there. We talked about this, obviously, and to a man, they're really upset that they all played the game clean and the way it was supposed to be played, and this guy is now proven to have taken extra help, and there's no way in the world that the players are going to forgive him in my mind. I mean, he's hurt baseball, he's hurt his teammates, he's hurt the organization that has paid him for a long time, and I have no compassion for him at all, really.
And do you believe that history, baseball history, Hall of Fame, record books, etc., will also be unforgiving?
It will not be forgiven.
Okay.
Most of the Hall of Famers that I talked to in the past, they're not going to let those kind of guys get in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, now your player, Antonio Bastardo, a reliever for the Phillies, also affected, along with various other players in the minors. I think there were a total of 12 in addition to A-Rod today. They got 50-game suspensions. Do you think that's also just?
Well, obviously, you have to live up to the contract that was negotiated between Major League Baseball and the union. Union being very strong, obviously, but it looks like we're at least on somewhat friendly terms, and in them agreeing to even have an interest in a program. Bastardo kind of caught us, I would say,
off guard a little bit.
Off guard, yeah. Because we had no inkling that he was even under consideration. To the best of my knowledge. Now, I'm not the general manager, and I'm not that involved with the front office stuff. But if he has been caught, he needs to pay the penalty.
All right, fair enough. And one more: the commissioner could have really, he could have invoked the best interest of baseball clause, as has been invoked in the past, and this way A-Rod would not have been able to appeal with an arbitrator or play while his appeal was ongoing. Not only did is he going to be able to appeal and said he would, but the suspension for some cockamamie reason, Dallas, doesn't even start till Thursday. So he'll be in the Yankee lineup tonight. Doesn't that make it all the more of a circus?
Well, it certainly does. Personally, if I were managing, he wouldn't play for me. I mean, the ruling is that he can be on the team. There's no ruling says he has to play.
Interesting. And you would not play him even though he was appealing?
Oh no. He's murdered that team. I mean, if there's they need him desperately, or needed him desperately, and he's let them down. He's let them down in a key pennant race time that is going to probably impact the entire organization.
Yeah, and
I believe that he had the choice one way or another, and I think also that he has lied an awful lot, just like Braun did. To what was going on, but I'm not privy to that. but I will say this, that they've done enough investigating that Major League Baseball feels they're on the right track. It puts Joe Girardi and it puts the Yankees in very difficult position tonight, and I'm anxious to see what Joe's going to say.
Yeah, last I had heard from Joe was that he had him penciled in after yesterday's game, pending what would happen today. We're talking to Dallas Green, former Major League manager, now a general manager assistant to the Philadelphia Phillies, and the author, most importantly, of The Mouth That Roared, My 6 Outspoken Decades in Baseball. And I want to talk about something that maybe we're working backwards here. I had the pleasure of knowing you and covering you when I was at WABC Radio, and you were with the Yankees for that tenure.
Right.
But of course, what most people do know, but some might not know, and it's addressed in the book certainly, is the horrific, tragic death of your granddaughter, Christina Taylor Green, 9 years old. She was killed in the Gabby Gifford shooting in Arizona. She was a brilliant young little girl, and I certainly didn't know her, but her interest in politics at 9 years old led her to hear the Congresswoman, to attend that Congresswoman Gabby Gifford's scheduled chat, and unfortunately led to her being shot. And I know that had profound, obvious effects on you, and put baseball in a whole different light. It's now used much differently by you since the shooting, correct?
Yeah, no question. I mean, our entire family was rocked to the tilt, and but my wife and I have always tried to make our kids understand that when adversity happens, obviously adversity in any form, the family still what holds together and what get you through that adversity. And I was very lucky, obviously, to a degree. I could sink myself into baseball. My son John is a scout for the Dodgers, and he could do the same. But Roxana, the mother, and the rest of us, rest of our family, really had a rough time with it. And there are times even now that we tear up with the best of them, and when we think about her, and we miss her terribly.
Yeah, I'm sure, and may she rest in peace, and just an unimaginable loss. And let me ask you though, the mouth that roared. I guess, I mean, is that how you think most people will remember Dallas Green as manager Dallas Green, whether it was with the Phils, with the Yanks, with the Mets, someone who always said what he felt, and sometimes maybe in the case of with Steinbrenner, maybe it would get Dallas Green in trouble.
Yeah, I was very good at that. But that's been my personality. I believe in telling the truth, and I believe in when the media asks me a question, I always try to tell the truth. And obviously in baseball, there's times when players, whoever we're talking about, sometimes get hurt. They don't appreciate negativity, and they don't appreciate negative talk about their performance, and I was always one that was very open, or tried to be very open about that performance, because I felt there was a certain way to play the game, and when we don't play the game right, somebody has to remind them that they're not running the asylum, that the manager and general manager run the asylum.
Well, Dallas, you mentioned the players that you were with at the alumni. They're angry because they played the game without enhancements and all that kind of stuff. And when I look at those, classic games, even from the 80s, the 70s, I mean, especially the 70s, they're all skinny. They're all skinny and skin-tight uniforms. So let me ask you this: compare the team that you took to the World Championship in 1980 with the Phils. And, I don't know, compare it to some of the teams we've seen in the last, 10, 15 years. Are the teams now so much better because they're so much bigger and bulkier, or how do they compare, do you think?
Well, obviously, technology has come a long way. I mean, we for instance, when when I played, we didn't even know we had a rotator cuff, and now now obviously everybody can't wait to get on the disabled list and get operated on. So it has changed. There's no question about that, and obviously with that comes new training, new facilities for that training. Strength and conditioning has changed considerably. Robin Roberts and I talked all the time. The two things he did was run and throw, and today you can hardly get a pitcher to throw in between starts, and you can hardly get a guy to run 10 sprints anymore. So, and there's always exceptions to the rule, but
right.
I think for the most part, the pitch count and everything else has come into play, and it's sad to see that kind of stuff come into the game, but it goes back to the same thing. You're an individual. You have control of at least your conditioning and whether you're going to try to make something better of yourself by doing it chemically, or whether you're going to lift weights to the point where it obstructs your performance. You have so many things going now, and of course the same old thing. The money has gotten to the point where agents and everybody else is involved in almost all the decision-making processes. And it's just not the players, so it's a tough deal.
I bet you and me are probably the two. I'm going to assume you agree with me. I could be wrong. Are two of the people who just won't give in. I hate the instant replay. I hate when they stop the game in all the sports, but especially in baseball. It just doesn't seem to fit in baseball. To me, if an umpire makes a mistake, all right, they make a mistake. Just go on. It's a human game.
Well, there's two sides of that.
I know.
I tend to agree with you on 162 games. But when you work so hard and win the right to go to the playoffs and World Series are the ultimate for any organization, obviously. And the umpires obviously are human beings, and they do make mistakes. I think replays could come into play in the playoffs and World Series. They still do the home run thing, and that's about all that's allowed now.
Right.
But not long ago there was a fair foul ball that changed the complex of the game and changed the outcome of the game. There's a lot of things that happen in playoffs and World Series that really need to be made right.
Yeah, no. And Dallas, your book is full of all the anecdotes and everything that made you such a great success, made you so controversial, got you in so much trouble, and of course, as I mentioned, your beloved granddaughter discussed in there as well. So it's a great read. It's an education and it's entertaining. The Mouth That Roared: My 6 Outspoken Decades in Baseball by the great manager Dallas Green. Thank you. I really enjoyed chatting with you, Dallas.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Take care. Dallas Green, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Okay, we have one final segment left in the hour, and I'm looking at CNN, and you know what are they talking about Benghazi? Are they talking about healthcare? Are they talking about anything, the phony scandals, anything? No! Chelsea Clinton back in the spotlight, says running for office is still an option. Thank God. I thought Chelsea ruled out running for office. She might still run. Thank God. On the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy. Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere, or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com. Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price.
Scroll down now to claim your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide for the special internet offer of only $4.95.
Hey guys, do you know your testosterone level? You should. Each year, declining testosterone robs more of your energy, drive, motivation, and even your ability to perform in bed. Take control of your testosterone today. Write this number down because Progene, the leader in dual-action testosterone supplements, is now giving you a free supply if you call today at 800-592-4834. If you'd like to feel closer to 20 than 40 and get back that energy, drive, and confidence, call now to try Progene risk-free. Don't believe us? We'll even prove it works. Ask about our at-home testosterone test kits and see for yourself what Progene can do for you. Be one of the next 100 callers. We'll triple your order and send you a full 1-month supply of Progene for free. A $70 value for only the cost of shipping and handling. Call 800-592-4834 for details. Know your level and kick your drive back into gear with Progene. Call 800-592-4834. That's 800-592-4834. Again, 800-592-4834.
You've heard the allegations on the news, and during the big game, pro football players have been using deer antler velvet to get a competitive edge. Banned at the London Games for its performance-enhancing qualities. Forbidden in major sports leagues for being an unfair advantage to athletes. Deer antler velvet is now in stock and available to try for free for a limited time only. Athletes have been using it for years for increased strength, increased endurance, muscle mass stress reduction, and yes, greatly enhanced libido. Everyone's talking about this miracle substance so powerful, it's being banned by professional sports organizations, but for a limited time, it's being made available to the general public. Best of all, you can try it for free by calling 800-678-5153. That's right, get Superior Velvet for free. If you're looking to boost your performance on the field and between the sheets, get the most powerful, proven product used by athletes for years now for free. Claim your free bottle today by calling 800-678-5153. That's 800-678-5153. Again, 800-678-5153.
Health insurance is on everybody's mind right now. You either don't have it, or you have it and you think it's too expensive. And you probably feel like you don't have any options. We can help. We are InSphere Insurance Solutions. We offer health insurance plans from major carriers nationwide and likely have a plan that can save you money. Whether you're self-employed, on a COBRA plan that's about to expire, or you simply don't have health insurance where you work and you need it, InSphere Insurance Solutions can help you. Our agents will help you find coverage you can afford. InSphere Insurance Solutions is an authorized agency in all 50 states, including the District of Columbia. Plans may not be available in all states. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, one final segment before we say goodbye for Monday and resume 21 hours later on the Steve Malzberg Show. Okay, earlier in the show, I talked about how the president's health care plan, Obamacare, will adversely affect parents of special needs children. And here's how I have the article in front of me right now by Patrick Howley, our friend at the Daily Caller. It'll make it more difficult because it'll make it harder for them to pay tuition at special schools and to purchase medical equipment. According to a new report, FSA, the flexible savings account, that's not the health savings account, it's the flexible. I think I called it family savings earlier. FSA, flexible. More than 30 million Americans place money into the pre-tax flexible savings accounts. Maybe you do. Through their employers to help save emergency funds to pay for their family's medical costs and others costs. Obamacare institutes a brand new $2,500 cap for FSAs, which will make more money taxable and could raise $13 billion in taxes for the federal government over the next decade. Now, here's the deal. Currently, if parents send their kids to special schools, the tuition is considered a qualified medical expense that could run through your FSA. If you have a kid who needs a durable piece of medical equipment that's not covered by insurance, you could run that through your FSA. If FSAs had any limits before Obamacare, those were determined by the employer. The IRS had nothing to do with it. Now it's going to be federal policy. There's a $2,500 cap on your contributions, your pre-tax contributions to the FSA under Obamacare. And they say that this is the Ryan Ellis, tax policy director at Americans for Tax Reform, says that this isn't going to affect most people who just put in enough to pay for eyeglasses or dental work. But the one group that's being restricted is parents of special needs children. So I just wanted to give that to you. And on the same note here, I was off last week, as you well know, and one of the things that really got me was House Republicans. House Republicans voted before they went home to pass a single bill linking taxes and the IRS and Obamacare. They voted to block the IRS from having any role in Obamacare. Yay! Same as when they vote to get rid of Obamacare. I like that they do that, but it's meaningless. What I've been calling for, what some senators have been calling for, what others have been calling for, and what the Republican leadership will not do is vote to defund Obamacare. Or at least, you don't want the IRS involved? Say no money for the IRS role in Obamacare. No money. That means can't happen. So that means Obama could either sign off on a budget like that or a continuing resolution that defunds the IRS involvement in Obamacare, or he could say, I won't sign it, and the government will shut down. Well, we heard first from Congressman Scott Garrett, my congressman, almost 3 weeks ago now, that the Republican leadership in the House didn't want to risk a government shutdown, because it would be portrayed as the Republicans' fault, and they're scared to death. So they can keep passing all these, we don't want the IRS, voted, passed, no IRS in Obamacare, no Obamacare, no this in Obamacare. It's meaningless. They have the power of the purse. They have the power to withhold these funds and force a showdown. If you're not going to stand on principle over something as insane as Obamacare, as intrusive and restrictive and destructive as Obamacare, when will you? When will you take a stand? When will you say, the media be damned? We know they're going to blame us. They're going to make us into villains. They're going to do everything they can to tear us apart. But we have right on our side. The public doesn't want this. The public can't afford this. This will destroy jobs. It will destroy freedom. It will destroy privacy. And we will stand on principle. Many of us in the House were elected to defeat Obamacare. And now we're saying, well, we'll pass bills that say no, no, no. but we have the power to say no, no, no. But we might be portrayed as bad guys if we do that, so we're not going to do that. Really? Really? The logic of let it go through to see so the public could see how bad it is? And then what? In 10 years, hold the Democrats responsible? Are you crazy? Well, that's Cantor, that's Boehner, that's McCarthy. It's sick. And it's unfortunate, but that's what we have on the Steve Malzberg Show.